I'm gonna be trying to learn how to code in Roblox. Do you think my short attention span can do it? Only one way to find out. And by the way, I'm not stupid. So day one, I'm gonna start with just watching tutorials. It is probably the best way to learn how to script in Roblox. So that's what I'm gonna do.
Young little noober doesn't hold left click and drag it wherever I...
So this first one's just teaching me how to just work around the workspace, which is something I just already know how to do. So I think we're just gonna move on to the second one.
Want to put it inside, so you can just delete the entire thing and then you can start back from square one if you want to. It's really up to you.
Okay, so the video gave me a learning objective, and it taught me how to print stuff. So let's make a story. Print Mr. Hamburger Man was walking to the store. He was jumped by a clown, and the clown said, "Gimme yo money, yo burger." And the thing is he was made out of burgers. Burger Man couldn't do that. Burger Man, no, because he can't give you burger. So the clown just filled him with bullets, and then Burger Man ceased to exist by that point. And there you go. We have to go to the output, and then it says, "Oh, hello world, Mr. Burgerman was walking to the store." So that's my story. You're welcome. You could give me 5 stars on Fiverr. That'd be pretty cool. So after I did the print statements, I decided to do like 3 more videos so that I could get more done within a week. And here is what I learned within those videos. One of the things were data types, like true and false and numbers. That was pretty easy to understand though. The next thing I learned was variables, which are just like making words mean other words, basically. And numbers, I'm not discriminating, but to be real, they can use every data type. Next, we learned properties, which is just a scripting way of changing the color or material a part is. And then we learned functions, which is just a way of running a bunch of code in a row. And as you can see, I made it make a piece of cheese blink. Pretty cool. That's everything I learned. I think that's gonna be it for day 1. And I'll see you in day 2.
It's raining tacos from out of the sky.
So in day 2, I decided to continue what I was doing on day 1. It's literally one of the best ways to learn scripting. So I just continued with it. Alright, before I start doing more tutorials and stuff, I decided to make a little obstacle course with what I learned from yesterday. It didn't really work. It's just an obby and the block disappears and stuff. I don't know how to make it repeat yet, and I don't know how to make it so the actual block hitbox goes away. I tried. It's not the best thing in the world, but at some point I'll be able to make this functional, okay? After all that, I started watching the videos. And I ended up watching these 2 videos that are in front of you right now. The video taught me how to use math in my scripts, which I don't know how useful that'll be, but if I need it, I need it. And then I started learning if statements and else if statements. An if statement is like, if someone goes to the store, then they're gonna get something. And the else if statements are like another choice that is presented to the person. And then I started working on my own if statements. And this one will check if a part is a certain color, and if it is, it'll let me know with a print statement. As you can see, I load in and it prints cheese is yellow, which it is. You can also do the same thing with scripts. I chose my math script, and as you can see, it printed math is enabled. Anyway, with that, that's the end of day 2. I plan to do something a little different for day 3. So, I'll see you then.
Here's my brother Luigi now to tell you a whole heap of a spaghetti pile of information. Hello, Mario.
Alright, so in day 3, I wanted to try to like do some actual game mechanics. So like GUIs or countdowns to get into a map or something like that. Just something that you would actually use in an actual game. So I'm gonna give you a quick summary of what actually happened this day. And when I say quick, I mean moderately long. So I started watching this guy's beginner guide on Roblox GUIs because that's what I wanted to focus on this day. And so I started making GUIs, and I made this pretty cool money GUI. I think it's so good that you might as well take it out on a date. It's a very lonely GUI. It needs friends at least. Come on, bro. And after that, I started making a plus button that you can actually press, but it doesn't give money or anything yet. Sorry. But after that, I started learning how to actually script the GUIs. It used a lot of the same logic that I already learned, but there was some new things that I had to learn as well. This is where you'll start seeing a lot of things that are newer to me. Like I learned how to do the text button stuff and the mouse entering and kind of just that kind of stuff. And obviously when you're learning new things, mistakes are just gonna happen. But don't worry, I did end up fixing it. But in the process, I may have changed it a bit. But now it'll print stuff when you're either pressing it, letting go of it, hovering over it, just a whole bunch of stuff. And after that, I decided to move on to something a little more difficult, I'd say. And this was just a part that you would step on that would pop up a question that you could answer yes or no. And depending on what you answered, it would do something different. And to be honest, this is an actual game mechanic that I could use in an actual game. So it was just super useful to learn this. And yeah, I spent the entire day learning GUIs. I just got super tunnel visioned on trying to figure out GUIs, and to be honest, the product is there. So if you step on it, it'll pop up the question. If you click no, it'll go red. If you click yes, you'll get out of the question. To be honest, I'm glad I did pour all my focus onto GUIs. I do plan to make an actual game at the end of the 7 days, but there's also another game that I plan to make its own separate video. And also, it's the middle of the video. You might as well subscribe, bro. You've made it this far, you must be enjoying it. Anyway, that's all I got done this day. I definitely could have done more, but I just poured so much time into GUIs. With that, anyway, I will see you guys in day 4. Welcome to day 4. I want to let you know that I pretty much got up and then immediately started scripting, and I wanted to go ahead and just do something. So I made it so whenever you click the plus button, you actually start gaining money. And after that, I decided to make the plus button into like an actual just get money button. I don't know, I just needed something to do real quick. But the actual plan for today is I'm going to be making a building system. Yes, a building system. And you might be sitting in your chair thinking, that's a little crazy jump from just making GUIs. But why not do it? You know what I'm saying? Now, I do think that I could build a really simple version of a building system, but I might as well watch a tutorial, learn some more things about it. So I started trying to find a tutorial that would explain how to make a building system. But every tutorial that I found was just not really explaining it very well, and they were super complicated. A lot of them started to use module scripts and just commands that I just haven't learned yet, so I didn't understand them. And so I got pretty frustrated and just started trying to build my own building system from what I already know. And this is kind of what the process looked like. So first I tried to think, okay, let's get a tool and then make it so it gives it to the player, and then when a player holds out that tool, they can place a part, which, by the way, isn't really easy to just learn. I made so many errors and mistakes that it was really frustrating. So I tried to make a button that you could just press that would spawn a part. It's almost like building, but it's really not. Like, this is literally all it does. So you click the build button and it starts spawning parts, just literally in a random location. I don't really know why I picked that spot. I have no clue. And you might think, is that all you decided to do on this day? No, but I definitely had to take a break. It was definitely getting to me, and I needed food. After the food break, I ended up following one of the tutorials. It was literally the only way I was gonna have a legit building system. And as you can see, it works. You can place blocks from where your mouse is, and it's a little glitchy, as you can see, but you know what, it's better than nothing to show for the day. Yeah, I'm gonna be honest, this day was kinda wasted. I could have definitely done something different, but I wanted to make a building system, so I mean, I kinda did succeed, didn't I? Anyway, that's gonna be it for day 4, and I'll see you in day 5. Welcome to day 5. Today I decided to go back to the step-by-step tutorials instead of learning just one-off things like GUIs and building systems. The week is getting close to being over, and I have a game that I want to make at the end of it, and I need to soak up as much information as possible. So I start watching tutorial after tutorial, and here's what I learned. So the first thing I learned was these things called operators. It's like and, or, and not. From what I got from the video, it just kind of helps the script know what you're trying to say to it. I don't really honestly know the use cases for this, but they'll probably come up and I'll need them. The next thing I learned was loops. Now, I know that loops will come up and be really useful, but yeah, they basically just loop whatever's inside of the for and then the end. Now, the while loop is something that can be used to just repeat it over and over again, which is very useful. What I do know is that if I left out this important line, my game would crash. I was able to make a disco floor. This is how I did it. I also did end up fixing my little parkour course thing. I'm gonna be honest, it's still a work in progress. The next thing I learned was breaks and continues, which is just kind of a continuance of the last lesson, but this just makes it so the loop stops at a certain point. Or you can make it continue. If you do the continue wrong, you could end up freezing your Roblox studio.
Oh, wait a minute. I forgot to break the script. Oh, this is about to be really slow.
Almost broke my
screen.
damn game. Other than that, I learned how to write little notes in the script. I don't think I'm ever gonna find myself doing that, but we'll see. And then I started learning events. This video mainly focused on the touch event, but it also dabbled in a little bit of like other like events. So the touch event just reads if a player has touched a part. And I made it so if you touch this part, it'll play what part of my body actually touched the part. And then I was trying to make it change colors when you touch the part. But I got rudely interrupted by my internet. I literally couldn't continue today, so this is where it has to end. But I will see you in day 6. Welcome to day 6. Now, in day 6, I finally finished my tutorial playlist. I know, it's pretty great. It's pretty awesome sauce. Other than that, I'm just gonna show you what I learned today. The first thing I learned was the root to all gambling, a random number generator. Now, it can be more than just a random number generator. You can also randomize the colors on a part, or even the material of the part. Now, as you can see here, I literally made a disco floor. Oh, it's not that cool? What about changing the material? Oh, that's not cool either? My fault. I guess I can't please you, bro. Anyway, other than those couple of things, it was mainly just a random number generator. You can pick a number to go through 100 or something like that, and it'll just pick a number through 100. This time we went through tables. Now, tables are just these things that you can keep a bunch of data inside. And it just makes it way easier to reference the data that you're wanting to reference. It allows you to put numbers, strings, booleans, whatever really. Any kind of data type. My favorite part about it is that you can start making menus or item shops or just shops in general, because you can make reference to prices of items. Now, this was the last thing I had to do for the tutorial playlist. The person wanted me to make an obby with multiple things that I've learned throughout the playlist. So I started making the jumps. Then I started making a button that'll set a 7-second timer while you try to get to the door before it closes. There is the green door. And then I started scripting the whole idea, which the button logic wasn't actually that hard to implement to this. It was actually quite easy. Here's the finished script, and here's what it does. So you click the button, it opens the green door, and you have 7 seconds to get through it before it closes behind you. And then I started scripting a money ball. Basically, you touch the ball and it gives you money. For some reason, I had a tough time making this. It was the hardest part of this entire thing. You think since I've already messed with money before, it would have been easy, but no. I learned that there's a huge difference between local scripts and regular scripts. Like, I was trying to do stuff that only local scripts can do, so the script just couldn't do it. So I struggled trying to get a regular script to just do what I wanted it to do, when I probably could have just used a local script and a regular script, and it probably would have worked. So that's what I ended up trying to do. And well, it kind of worked. Like, obviously I was getting money, but the ball wasn't going away, and it was giving me too much money. I was extremely burnt out at this point and just wanted a break. So I ended up stopping for the day. Alright, so today is day 7. And day 7, I plan to completely make a retro Pong game. Now, I'm going to be giving myself some lenience, as I can look up a few things, but this is pretty much going to be on my own. So, let's get into it. And so I started building the Pong table and having my hopes and dreams in my back pocket. Honestly, the Pong table ended up actually being the easiest part. Obviously, because building in Roblox is not too hard unless you're building huge things or giant scales of like just maps. After I got done with the table, I started trying to make a camera point of view that will just point your camera straight down at the table. Little did I know, I knew nothing of the sort of how to do this. I thought I could just fiddle fart around and figure it out myself, but it didn't really end up that way. I was trying to get the Roblox autofill feature to help me out with this, but it just didn't want to do what I wanted it to do. I was trying my best not to even touch an AI or a tutorial until I really needed it. So I continued just messing around trying to find out what even connects the player's camera to parts. And after many failed attempts, I decided to look inside of the player's files. And I did end up finding something. Camera module. This camera module seemed like the key to the puzzle, but it only confused me more. Nothing in the script looked like it would have helped me in any type of way. So I had to look it up. And then after that, I ended up finding out a way to actually make it work. Obviously, the camera is facing the wrong way, but there's some progress. After that, I ended up fixing the angle for the camera, and it's a top-down view. After all that, I ended up trying to figure out a way to make it so when the player touches the blue or red part, they join their respective teams. This also ended up being difficult because I didn't know how to set a player's team at all. But I did end up figuring it out, and it does work. Well, at least the teams do. Getting put on a team doesn't work right now. Although I did end up figuring it out because I know how to use the touched event. And now the player can step on the blue or red part and it'll put them on the red or blue team. Now the next thing I decided to do was actually script the paddles. Now the paddles took a long time, mainly because I had to learn about tween service. Now the tween service, it just makes parts move smoothly. This is also where you'll see that I start using Roblox's AI, because, well, this is new territory that I don't know very much about. I was still trying to learn very much from it, but I can see why you would think that this is just not learning. And you might think it's borderline cheating, but I'm just out here trying my best, okay? Even while trying to use my resources, I was still making mistakes and obviously learning from them. But eventually I did get the paddle to end up working. But as you can see, it is moving the wrong direction. And after figuring out how Roblox does their directions, X, Y, and Z, I did end up figuring it out. But the paddle will end up just going through the wall. So obviously I need to figure out how to make it not do that. And many mistakes later, I did end up figuring it out. After that, I needed to figure out how to make the ball move and how it would move across the field or board. Now, I decided to skip forward a little bit because the amount of time it spent to figure out how to make the ball move and all these other little things I decided to add was painful. Obviously, you can see that I added a little GUI that keeps score of who's winning or losing. Other than that, I think the game is done. Yeah, it's obviously a problem still, but it's looking good enough to test it with a friend. Now, I did try to record his voice, and, well, let's just say I messed up and it didn't record his voice, so you won't be able to hear him. His main complaints were the ball was too fast, and the paddles are too finicky, and the ball sometimes gets stuck in this. I kind of already knew about these issues, but I just decided to test it. Now I can answer the question, can someone learn coding in Roblox in 7 days? Well, I'm gonna say kinda, because obviously you don't gain the same skills that you would in a year or anything like that. And the amount of resources that I had to use in order to even make this game shows that I just didn't learn enough in the time frame. Obviously, I did learn some things. I know so much more than I did before starting this. But at the end of the day, it wasn't enough to make a full-fledged game. Anyway, this is the end. If you liked it, like, subscribe. I'm gonna continue learning even after the 7 days, and I want to try to make a game eventually. And if you want a video like that, can we try to get 10 likes on this? Anyway, that's it for me, and I will see you guys later.